Acha Sanjay Uvacha Iti Aham Vasudevasya Parthasya Cha Mahatmana Samvadam Imam Ashrosham Adbhutam Roma Harshanam. Shloka once again. Sanjay Uvacha Iti Aham Vasudevasya Parthasya Cha Mahatmana Samvadam Imam Ashrosham Adbhutam Roma Harshanam. Shloka once again. Sanjaya Uvacha Iti Aham Vasudevasya Parthasya Cha Mahatmana Samvadam Imam Ashrausham Adbhutam Roma Harshanam. Yes, devotees. Any two of you recite the shloka? Any two of you recite the shloka? You want me to take your names?
Sanjay Uvacha Iti Aham Vasudevasya Parthasya Cha Mahatmana Samvadam Imam Ashrausham Adbhutam Roma Harshanam.
Okay. One more devotee.
Sanjay Uvacha Iti Aham Vasudevasya Parthasya Cha Mahatmana Samvadam Imam Ashrosham Adbhutam Roma Harshanam.
Hare Krishna. Someone else read the translation. Someone else read the translation.
Prabhu, can I read?
Yes, please.
Sanjaya said, Thus have I heard the conversation of two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna, and so wonderful is that message that my hair is standing on end.
Yes. Go ahead for the purport also. Yesterday we discussed the translation. Today we will discuss from the purport. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Yes, please read.
In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Dhritarashtra inquired from his secretary Sanjaya what happened on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. The entire study was related to the heart of Sanjaya by the grace of his spiritual master Vyasa. He thus explained the theme of the battlefield. The conversation was wonderful because such an important conversation between two great souls had never taken place before and would not take place again. It was wonderful because the Supreme Personality of Godhead was speaking about himself and his energies to the living entity. Arjuna, a great devotee of the Lord, if we follow in the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna, then our life will be happy and successful. Sanjaya realized this, and as he begins to understand it, he related the conversation to Dhritarashtra. Now it is concluded that wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, there is victory.
Yes. Do you have more purport? By Prabhupada? That's it. That's it. Okay.
That's it.
Hare Krishna. So devotees, hear carefully. Yeah? There are some practical things we will discuss today. We hear every day some classes, right? We hear every day some statements, some words from our parents, from our brothers, sisters, elderly people. Arey, sudhar jao re beta, sudhar jao. And we hear in the classrooms also from teachers. In the company, we hear from our boss or colleagues. We hear from our Friends, on daily basis, we hear from our friends, अरे पता है ये हुआ था, अरे पता है वो हुआ था. We hear every day. Actually, as I mentioned before, all the conversations, all the talk in the world starts with question, ends with answer. Question answers. Throughout our day, throughout our life, we always have a conversations. We always have a talk, beginning with question, ending with answer. आज बारिश होगा? आज क्या खाना बनाया? So, Bhagavad Gita also started with a question by Dhritarashtra. Kim akurvata Sanjaya? Hey Sanjay, what is happening in the battlefield of Kurukshetra? So whole study of Bhagavad Gita started with a question. Okay. So Sanjaya is responding to the question of Dhritarashtra. Sanjay is not only responding to the question of Dhritarashtra, but also he is relating the conversation between Arjuna and Krishna. And there are many questions by Arjuna to Krishna, and Krishna answering back the questions of Arjuna. So any conversation definitely involves question and answers. So many times we get bored of hearing lectures. अगर माता पिता सुनाने लगते हमको, we don't want to hear. मैंने पूछा नहीं, क्यों बता रहे हो? I never asked you why you are saying this. So when somebody asks question, then there is a relevance we find. If we don't ask any question, then some other guy is speaking, going on, speaking on, then we won't feel any relevance in our practical life, right? So I think I have such experiences. When I sit in temple, some people, they behave a little oddly. They speak something nonsense. So I tell them, hey, in the temple you should not speak like that. In the temple you should not sit like that. And they don't take it very inspiringly. Many times they don't take it very happily. But some people, they come to me and ask, प्रभु जी मंदिर में ऐसा क्यों दंडवत प्रणाम कर रहे हैं? सर उधर रख के, पैर इधर रख के, क्यों ऐसा कर? पंडित जी बताइए, ये मंदिर, ये विग्रह का नाम क्या है? So when they ask question, when I respond to their questions, they feel more relevance. If I myself going and speaking to them, that doesn't make any sense to them. Many times youngsters ask such questions. So question, when we speak something in relevance to question, then it makes some sense. So Sanjaya, he spoke as a response to the Dhritarashtra's question. Krishna responded to the questions of Arjuna. Nobody went astray. Astray means, you understand? Astray. Nobody went above the subject. So Krishna also spoke very relevantly to Arjuna. Sanjaya also spoke very relevantly to Dhritarashtra. Even though Dhritarashtra had only one question, what happened? What is happening in the battlefield of Kurukshetra? For that question, Sanjaya elaborately answered whatever is happening in the battle of Kurukshetra. Of course, he ended up to the time war began. Now, Arjuna lifted the bow and arrow, ready to fight. So that's what Dhritarashtra wanted to hear, and that's there done. Everyday reports came up. Dhritarashtra getting everyday reports from battlefield of Kurukshetra. What is happening exactly? So if you see why I'm taking up this discussion, we should ask relevant questions and we should answer those relevant questions only. This is the aspect. This is one of the important lesson we should learn from this purport, especially this conversation between Sanjay and Dhritarashtra. Many times we ask questions irrelevant to our life, irrelevant to our. Sometimes, we get questions which are very little awkward, very much awkward. We don't find, after asking question, we understand. Arey, मैं क्यों पूछा था ये प्रश्न? So we should ask relevant questions. Arjuna was asking very much relevant questions. He asked one question that very much relevant. Of course, every question is relevant. One question he asked was, Atakkena prayuktoyam papam charati purushaha. Hey Krishna, I don't want to do this. I don't want to, give up the battle and go to take sannyas to forest. I want to fight, but somehow something is stopping me to not to fight. Some force is there that is stopping me to do what I want to do. This is a very, very practical question everybody faces in their life. There is some unknown forces which are forcing us behind, demotivating us, pushing us down again and again. What is that? Arjuna asked such question to Krishna. Of course, Krishna answered it. Another practical question, Arjuna, of course, all are practical questions. Another question he asked, see Krishna, you are explaining me so much with all wonderful examples, wonderful quotations. You are explaining wonderfully, but I am not able to understand. He asked that question. He asked a question that I am not able to understand. Please explain it more clearly. Arjuna is not finding a fault with Krishna's explanation. He is finding fault with his own understanding. There is a difference, right? Asking a question to Krishna, no, there is something wrong in you. You are not explaining properly. That is different. Or in other way, no, you are explaining nicely, but something is some problem of understanding me. From my side, there is a problem. Can you repeat it more clearly? So such practical questions Arjuna asked, relevant questions Arjuna asked. And Krishna also answered Arjuna very much relevantly. Not only to Arjuna, through Arjuna, he answered many philosophical doubts, many questions of the yogis, jnanis in the world. Even to ordinary people, Krishna answered the questions, unasked questions. So that's how we should understand this important lesson. We should ask relevant questions. If you are not able to phrase the question nicely, you can rephrase the question maybe. That can also be done. Many times I ask this. People ask some questions, very big, lengthy questions. Maybe the speaker may not understand the question, so you can rephrase also your question. So that to the point, what exactly you want to get an answer for. At the same time, whenever we ask question, we should be faithful to the speaker so that whatever is going to respond, there is some relevance to our question. There is some relevance to our question. Many times it happens when speaker is answering the question, first half part we'll hear and then we'll say, no, my question was, no, better understand his answer, better understand his explanation. He may be bridging, he may be started his bridging the answering your question. Basic stuff is required, so he must be answering your question, building up from the basics. Yes. So this is a conversation. Everyday life, our whole life is filled up with question answers. You see, sometimes when wife and husband they quarrel, wife says, "Sun rahe ho mere baat? Are you hearing me?" Husband says, "मेरा बात समझ गया आपने? मैं क्या बोलना चाहता हूँ आपको पता है?" You know, they quarrel starts like this. Or in between some comments comes like this. in between quarrels between wife and husband, friends also. So basically, the expectation among two people is other person should hear me. Other person should understand me. When someone feels that you are able to hear him, when somebody feels that you are able to understand him, then he will definitely hear you, what you say. I repeat this point again, hear carefully. When your two members are quarreling, main cause of quarrels is misunderstandings. So everybody, both of the parties, they expect that other person should hear me, understand me, then respond. Of course, some ladies, they just want to speak. They don't want to understand others. That is different thing. Many times it happens with the men also. So basic expectation of the people is other person should hear me, understand me. Then if he wants, he can respond. आधा सुन के आधा समझ के we should not respond. Then it will be big blunder. So here Sanjay is telling, can you display the purport? Prabhupada explains. He says, he does explain the theme of the battlefield. Yeah. Can you highlight this point? The conversation was wonderful because such an important conversation between two great souls had never taken place before and would never take place again. So Krishna understood the heart, intention behind the Arjuna's questions. That's how he responded back. So Arjuna is also kept full faith in Krishna and kept himself as a surrendered devotee to Krishna, and then asked questions. Then he inquired from Krishna. So this conversation between these two great souls, Krishna and Arjuna, this conversation took place very, very peacefully. Even though it is a battlefield, Ranaranga, but such a wonderful knowledge is coming out of this Ranaranga, battlefield. And this Arjuna and Krishna are perfect. Even on the battlefield, they are speaking very, very relevantly, comfortably, able to understand, revise once again. Krishna sometimes revises the subject matter once again for the benefit of Arjuna to understand. So when we understand, when we have a conversation between our people like this, then there won't be any misunderstandings. Yes. Such conversations never took place in the past, again, never takes place again in the future. That is the glory of Bhagavad Gita. Yes. So even Bhagavad Gita, if you read Bhagavad Gita just as a part of discussion, then also you will get benefited. So Bhagavad Gita, even somebody reads just like a newspaper. Somebody reads Bhagavad Gita as just a newspaper. Okay, this reporter said like this MLA said like this MP said like this. Even if you read Bhagavad Gita in that mode also, you will understand very peacefully. Yes. So Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna spoke about his glories, energies, how one should live to Arjuna. So Krishna is speaking about himself to Arjuna. Arjuna never took it as an offense. When two members meet each other and speak, you wanted to express something to other guy. He says, हाँ मेरा जीवन में भी ऐसे ही हुआ था, हाँ मैं भी ऐसे किया था, मैं भी ऐसे हुआ था. If he starts says something like this, then other guy doesn't show any interest of. I came to share something to you, and you are opening your own chapters. He doesn't feel like opening up. But here, Krishna, he spoke about himself, his energies, his glories to Arjuna. But Arjuna took it very, very wonderfully. Arjuna never felt that Krishna is boasting himself. No. Because they had a sync in the heart, sync in the soul to soul connection. That's how they could able to relish this conversation. Arjuna felt very happy. Krishna felt very happy. After reading and understanding this Bhagavad Gita, even Sanjaya felt so happy. That is the last point. Sanjaya realized this. He began to understand it. He related the conversation to Dhritarashtra. Yes, Sanjaya realized and he began to understand it. Sanjay also felt so happy. Adbhutam Roma Harshanam. He was getting goosebumps after hearing this Bhagavad Gita. So and now it is a opportunity for us. So Arjuna and Krishna took, had a great conversation. The same conversation Sanjaya related to Dhritarashtra, and that conversation we are reading daily basis. We are understanding. We can also have that opportunity to relish it more, realize it more. That requires humble reception. Humble reception. We should follow the footsteps of Arjuna, just like here it is mentioned. If we follow the footsteps of Arjuna to understand Krishna, then our life will be happy and successful. Highlight that point. We can also become like Sanjaya. We can relish Bhagavad Gita. We can also become like Arjuna. We can relish Bhagavad Gita. But we should follow the footsteps of Arjuna. Very humble attitude. Very receptive mode. Then we can relish Bhagavad Gita. So otherwise, it's difficult. Maybe we can open first 2 pages and read and then gone. Not much interested. Like that. So we should have this attitude of learning Bhagavad Gita. So to understand Bhagavad Gita, to understand the conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, at least on a practical level, observe your conversation with your friends, with your relatives. Observe your own conversations. Are you able to respond to the person after understanding what he wants to say? Or you want to just present what your point of view? On daily basis, we meet many people, right? On daily basis, we speak to many people in our life. But we should understand our conversation, what is happening, me and other guy. Okay, other persons may not may not have a clear understanding why this conversation going in a vague. But at least from our side, we should be clear. As much as short you speak, that much sweet it will become. People say, sometimes don't speak too much, make it short and sweet. So we should choose very, very pointed words, very clear statements. In our conversations, we should not be hazy. We should not be, confused. Our conversation should be very clear with others. Then other person also will like it. Continue with us for more conversations. So to understand Bhagavad Gita conversation between Arjuna and Krishna, we should observe our own conversations with our friends, with our relatives around us. What is the quality of our conversations between us and others in our practical life? Hare Krishna. So improve the quality of your conversations on daily basis. Then we can appreciate the conversations between Krishna and Arjuna.